Today is Monday, February 15th. It's my 19th shot today. And I know I've been really bad about keeping on top of my updates, so I'm trying to be a bit better about that. Today, I wanted to talk a bit about what you can do to prepare for transitioning. When you first start meeting with doctors and whatnot, it can take quite a bit of time to actually start your transition. And that time frame can be very frustrating, very irritating to, have to get somebody else to approve that you're ready to transition. It's quite the challenge to wait and get somebody else's approval. But at the same time, that time frame where you are waiting can definitely prove a purpose. I think everybody who's in that kind of limbo stage, the best advice that I can give you is to do your research. Make a list. Everywhere that you have to change your name and or gender, make a list of what each place requires, because each place is going to be different. What I had to do with Social Security was different from what I had to do with DMV. Everyone has their own requirements, and so this time that you're waiting, you're talking to doctors, and you're getting the approval to go ahead and start hormone replacement therapy and the whole 9 yards. That is really, honestly, the perfect time to sit down and wherever you are, whatever state that you're in, start doing research. What does Social Security require? What does the local DMV require? What does, the county require to change your birth certificate or your high school diploma or any of that? I was in the middle of a college semester. So what did the college need to change my name and my gender? When you're meeting with doctors to get approval for transitioning, that is really, honestly, the perfect time to do your research and find out. The best advice that I could give is to sit down, write it all out. For Social Security, I need this and this. For the DMV, I need this and this. For my school, I need this and this. For my job, I need this and this. And some of them will overlap. You're going to need the same documentation for certain places, and for other places, you'll need a different type of documentation. So it's really good to sit down ahead of time and kind of plan that, map that all out. I didn't take the time to sit down and make a list of what all I had to do. And that has kind of, in some ways, hindered my transition. With the DMV, it was a perfect example. I really was not prepared for what they would need. So when I went in and talked to them, they needed different paperwork than I had in hand. And because of that, it ended up taking me like an additional 2 or 3 weeks to get the required paperwork. And then I was able to go back and finish my DMV process. In order to avoid those kind of delays, being more prepared and having everything laid out ahead of time would be very beneficial. So that's my recommendation to everybody, is really, really prepare yourself. You have this waiting period that you're kind of stuck with. You don't have a choice. You have to wait. So use that time to really educate yourself with what you're going to be required to do to change all of your documentation. And that, I really think, being prepared in that way helps speed up the process, and really makes it go a lot smoother. As far as I am in my transition, things are going great. My voice is definitely changing. My facial hair is coming in a lot better. Getting a bit of acne this time around. That's kind of new. I haven't dealt with acne really pretty much the whole time. So now, shot 19, finally starting to deal with a little bit of acne. Can't complain. But it's starting up. Facial hair's coming in great. Body hair, if everybody wants to see. Body hair is definitely, we can go to numerous parts. Body hair is definitely coming in. That all kind of has to do with genetics. I have a feeling I'm going to be super hairy, which I'm cool with. I'm very happy with the way that I'm transitioning. One thing I wanted to talk about was something I've kind of battled with throughout the transition is comparing myself to other people transitioning. I have a really close friend that I'm super proud to know and be a part of his life. He's transitioning. We're really close together in when we started hormone replacement therapy. And in certain ways, he's transitioning a bit faster than I am. And in other ways, he's not. Watching online videos, there are some people who have transitioned a little bit faster in certain areas than I have. And I've caught myself kind of becoming envious, I guess, of how quickly other people have transitioned. Seeing the results in other people and kind of comparing them to where I am in my transition. And on one hand, that can be very encouraging to be, on point with your fellow trans people. On the other hand, it can be very, very disheartening. There have been points in my transition where I've looked at somebody else and been like, oh, well, I should have this going on and I don't have it going on. They're transitioning faster, better than I am. And that's a really bad way to look at things. And I've struggled with that. It's a very negative way of looking at it, and as soon as you start heading down that negative path, it's very hard to snap yourself out of it. And you can't stay on that negative path. You can't compare yourself to anybody else. Each person's transition is very unique and very separate from everyone else's. Genetics play a large part in your transition, and every person handles the transition a little bit differently. So stopping and comparing yourself to where other people are on the same time frame is not constructive. It's not helpful in any way. So my best advice is to understand that each person reacts in their own individual way, and it's okay. You need the time emotionally and physically to transition at your own pace. And there should never be any comparison to anybody else. It's very important to just be happy and satisfied at the pace that your transition is going for you. And I think the happier and more positive you are mentally during a transition, the better things go. So stopping and comparing yourself tends to be negative, and you tend to start getting down about where you feel you may be lacking in your transition, and that it's not good to head down that negative pathway. So I encourage everybody to stay positive, look at the positives of your own time frame, your own transition. For me personally, I don't want to match myself up to where anybody else is. This is my personal, unique journey, and I have to be happy with where I am. I have to be satisfied with what changes have been made and with what progress I've seen. And it has been a lot. So I really encourage everybody to just stay focused on you and understand that each transition is very, very unique and personal. And you can't compare it to anybody else. It's a process, and you have to be patient. You have to let it happen as it naturally wants to happen. You can't force it, and trying to force it, getting upset that it's not happening on whatever time frame you think it should happen, is just, it's not the right way to handle the situation. So that's my big insight for this update. As far as updates go, I am happy to say my voice is continuing to change. My muscle mass has really started to change a lot in the past, I would say, probably 3 or 4 weeks. I'm seeing a lot of growth muscularly, a lot of change in body hair, massive growth in facial hair, which I'm very excited about. I want to rock the lumberjack beard eventually. So that's all good. Super amazing, awesome update is May 20th. I have my top surgery scheduled. So that's coming up real quick. I'm doing it in Thousand Oaks with a Dr. Krieger. I went and met with him once already, and he's a fantastic doctor, very aware of what the patient wants. He doesn't push any particular surgery, any process. He's happy to sit down and really discuss with you what your individual needs are, so I'm very excited to see how this surgery goes. I'm really thinking it's going to be awesome. I was kind of hopeful that I would be able to do the keyhole surgery, which is a little bit less invasive. But after meeting with Dr. Krieger, his opinion was that if I were to do the keyhole option, I would have to have multiple surgeries. And that's, for me personally, that's not really an option. So I am doing a double incision, which is a little bit more invasive. There's a longer recovery time involved. But I really think that after meeting with him, I think that's the best option for me. So that's where I am. May 20th will be awesome surgery date. I have a very dear friend who has offered to take me to the surgery, and you have to have 24-hour monitoring after surgery, and she has offered to let me crash at her house and kind of take care of me for that 24-hour period. I have multiple friends who have offered to help me throughout the rest of the recovery process, so that's really awesome. It's kind of hard doing this alone. There are definite challenges to being single, and I don't have a lot of blood relatives, especially in this area. So I'm kind of on my own throughout this process, and that has its challenges. It has its benefits too. I don't have to reassure anybody. I don't have to take anyone else's feelings into context during this process. I just have to worry about myself. So there are pros and cons. Thankfully, I have an amazing support group. So even though I am single and I don't have a partner going through this process with me, I have people who are willing to help me and stand by me throughout this whole journey. So that's great. For anybody out there who is single and worried about transitioning alone, it is doable, and there are benefits to it. I think it's all about, staying positive and staying happy about where you are, and just making do with what you've got. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to where everything is going, and I hope everyone else who's on this same path and same journey as I am. Hope you're all doing well. If you all have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any point, and I will give future updates as they come along. So hope everybody has a great evening tonight, great day tomorrow, and we'll talk to you all later. All right.